Hey everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games after a 5-4 shootout roller coaster in Montreal. We are live in the Xfinity studio, and joining me for postgame tonight, it's Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Woo! And that is really a phew, because that game was ridiculous.
It's a fun game.
I missed ridiculous games. They are way more fun than losing 2-1 and just never having a chance. That's cool. They got a whole bunch of shots. They didn't lose in overtime, and Montreal's awesome in overtime. 5 of their 9 wins are in OT this year. That was an awesome game. I would watch that game many, many times over, even given the blowing a 3-goal lead to fall behind the way they did.
Yeah, I think what's most notable about this game, if we're just breaking down the game, is how different it looked from all the other Flyers wins even this year. The Flyers rack up a ton of shots. They were getting pucks on net. They had traffic in front of the net. And the fact that it required overtime in a shootout, you have reasons for that.
We'll get into them.
Montreal, they're an opportunistic team that is shooting the lights out right now. Dan Vladar didn't have a great game, although he was great in the shootout. The officials were Montreal typical, to quote one Peter Laviolette. But in the end, the Flyers get the win, and they do it in an entertaining way that really hasn't been their MO this year.
No, we talked. My pregame bet was Montebo over saves, and it was because I thought the team would respond after Tocchet called them out, and at least for one night there'd be a concerted effort to get pucks towards the net. And I was really sweating it in the first period because I thought he was going to get pulled.
Right.
It was like, yeah, they're going to get 50 shots, and he's only going to face 12 because he's let in all these goals, but he stays in. We cashed that, but it was nice to see this team can open it up on offense. And while they did allow the 4 goals, there's some power plays in there. It's shaky from Dan Vladar. They only give up 19 shots, 20 shots through 65 minutes. They hold Montreal to 20 shots on goal. You see the tail of the tape. I mean, 42-20. The blocks, they had another 15 attempts there blocked. The power play scores twice. That was fun to see.
72 shot attempts by the Flyers.
72 shot attempts. That's like what they've had for the first 12 games of the season combined, I'm pretty sure. It was a different game, and that's where I want to start. Just the way they played tonight. The first period especially. They're getting traffic.
Yeah.
They draw some penalties, and that helps, but scoring on the power play is a lot of got to get pucks through and have to make the play after that, and they do. Do you think this is what they want to be? Not, the 4 goals against. No coach.
Sure.
No coach wants that. But yeah, we gave up 20 shots. That's a great number. We had a bunch. We converted them this time. Do you think they want to be more of at least a high event team on offense than they've been and try to limit it the other way like they did tonight? Or it's like we said pregame, they'd rather just win 3-2 every night.
Well, they definitely wanted to be a high-event team in this game.
Yes.
That's very clear. And some of that was driven by the fact that the team has been such a low-event team. They have struggled to get shots on goal. They've struggled to just take shots, period, but also to get them through on the goalie as well. So they certainly wanted to play this way tonight. Now, is this the way they want to play all the time? I'm not sure. Tocchet certainly acknowledges they need to shoot more. They need to create more. But it's fair to say, too, that Tocchet teams historically don't shoot a lot. And a lot of that is driven by the fact that Tocchet doesn't, generally speaking, love his team taking a ton of perimeter shots. It does seem like now he's kind of like, hey, we got to take some perimeter shots, guys. But I don't know if that's going to stick. If it does, though, I mean, this is a sustainable way to win. It went to overtime, it went to a shootout, but a lot of that is driven by the fact that the goalie didn't play that well.
Yeah.
And the fact that Montreal right now is shooting the lights out. They entered this game with the league, the highest shooting percentage in the league, a little over 14%. That went up.
Yeah,
That went up. So most teams they play aren't going to have, and I fully expect Montreal to regress in that area at some point. But right now, when they got the puck on their stick, they are a confident team. They believe they're going to score on every shot they take. I don't think the Flyers normally are going to be playing against a team that is playing with that kind of confidence. So this process, out shooting a team 42-20. Yeah, this is a sustainable process in terms of winning.
We'll talk about Vladar and his role in tonight's game, but just the idea, like this team, we talked about it in pregame. They are shooting the lights out. Everyone on the team is shooting over 20%, basically. It's insane. But Vladar, like Montreal they ended up with 9 shots in the second period. They scored 4 goals on 7 shots in the second at one point. That's just not going to happen like most nights.
No.
Even if the goalie is shaky, like you saw with Montembeault, who eventually rounded out his game and like figured it out like after the first period. But tonight, they do end up winning. But there is a trend that I know you love trends and stuff like this that like isn't based on really anything.
You got this mischievous look on your face, like you cannot wait to see how annoyed I'm going to get after hearing this.
So the Flyers now they come back and win the game. So they're now 3-2-1 when they score first. But they're 4-3-0 when they give up the first goal. Like they scored that Forster goal 29 seconds into the Ottawa game, then they get shut out for 59-31. Dvorak scored a minute 9 into the Toronto game. They lose 5-2. Brink scores a minute 56 into this one. They control the first period like I haven't seen them do
dominant first period
in all season, in really years.
On the scoreboard and the shot counter, they were just all over the Habs.
And then it just goes the other way. Can you attribute this to anything? Is it just early season weirdness? Like, what is it about them when they get off to a fast start? It doesn't necessarily mean, oh, yeah, we got this one.
Yeah, I think it's just early season weirdness. I don't think there is a, like, taking your foot off the gas pedal thing, because it seems like that's more or less what you're implying, that they get out to an early lead and then they coast, they sag a little bit. They dominate the entire first period. They outshoot the Habs 12-2 in the first period. And you alluded to it in the second period. Yeah, they give up 4 goals. It was a mess of a period. They outshot them 17-9 in that period too. So it wasn't like they stopped skating. It was just that whenever Montreal shot, they put the puck in the net. And some of that was, you've got some really talented players shooting like Demidov. But some of that too is just that sometimes weird things happen in a hockey game, and weird things happen. But I don't think the Flyers took their foot off the gas pedal. I don't think they stopped playing. It's just Montreal is a real confident team right now with the puck on their stick, and they took advantage of that.
I know we're like, but the Flyers only have like 3 regulation wins. They seem to really need the shootout. I think tonight was a hell of a win. Character-wise, on the road against a really hot team, blowing that lead, which is not ideal, but to then force overtime, get through the overtime against the deadliest 3-on-3 team like ever, and then win the shootout. And listen, it's Michkov didn't score. Like you needed 3 saves out of Vladar. You got 3 stops. Like I think it was a pretty damn good win, despite it not being, it's not an RW, it's not an ROW.
Right.
It's one of those ones at the end, you're like, oh, that's the 5th tiebreaker or whatever.
Yeah.
But it still was like a pretty, I don't know about impressive. I don't know if you go up 3-0 and are down 4-3, you can say impressive, but an important win in terms of like building this team's character now with 69 games left in the season.
Well, I think the important part about this win, and you can point to the fact that they blew a 3-0 lead and say, well, how can you say the process was good when they blew a 3-0 lead?
It was,
but the process was good. But more than that, look, online over the last few days, Rick Tocchet has caught a lot of grief from fans. He is not going into this game, was not the most popular guy in Philadelphia sports. But I do think it was interesting, and maybe we didn't talk enough about this. It was interesting that after Sunday's game, kind of called out his team.
Yeah.
He says, first he goes with the whole, I feel sorry for the fans. That game was ugly, which it was. But even more than that, then later he goes into this idea that the leaders need to step up. They need to play a harder game. That they were guys that are basically just think like, well, I can just show up and play a hockey game. And I liked the response from the team because it's kind of bold for a coach 12 games in to call out his team. Number one, it shows that he thinks he's already earned the respect of his team. So that's good because he thinks he can go to that well that early. But number two, he's also putting himself in a position where if they don't respond, then suddenly you're like, oh, geez. You know, this ain't good. He's already going to that well, and then they get blown out 5-0 and the very next game. Not only did they win, but they also very clearly made the adjustments he wanted them to make. You had on that very first goal, Sean Couturier wins a battle, goes right to the front of the net. Exactly what Tocchet was telling them they had to do, was telling the leaders they had to do a better job. And then you got your captain early in the game doing exactly what the coach says. Like, that's a leadership play. And that was really good to see from the Flyers.
No, that was the, if the game hadn't just totally gone off the rails, you know, basically at the start of the second period and then for the rest of the game, like, we're not doing the game changer yet. That'll be later. But had the game kind of just taken the path it was on in the first, my game changer tonight was going to be Sean Couturier, the leadership response, setting up that first goal that Bobby Brink scores. He wins a battle, but to be in that battle, we know Coots in his prime was not exactly fleet of foot.
Yeah.
And now he's in his 30s, couple of back surgeries, a couple of knee injuries. Like, it's he's not the fastest dude. To get into that battle, he had to cancel out an icing in a foot race and got there and then was able to get the puck loose. Like, that's the leadership response I was looking for.
Yeah.
We kind of singled out TK in pregame, but it being Sean Couturier, the captain, the guy, like, yeah, man, I was not expecting him to get to that puck. When he gets to the hash marks first, I was like, oh, damn, okay, good for you, man. And then they score right off of that. I thought that was absolutely huge. But let's go to the Ace Hardware temperature check now, because we got to talk about the goalie. Let's take a look at who's heating up or cooling off with our Ace Hardware temp check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. We are going to take a look at Dan Vladar in the temp check tonight, because those first 6 games, he allowed 10 goals on 165 shots. The last 2, 8 goals on 39. You see how it went tonight. 16 saves on 20 shots for a nice round 800 save percentage. Now, third period, overtime, shootout, he answers. He figures it out at least enough. But Charlie, we're sitting there watching him like make saves, or Montreal just kind of miss on a couple of chances, and I thought he had like both contacts in one eye or something. It looked, there was one shot that went a little wide, and we both were like, he just reacted after it was like it hit the backboards. He did not.
Yeah.
It was a rough night for Dan Vladar. The numbers are what they are. All those goals came in the second. He eventually, listen, he gets the win. That's what matters. But yikes.
Yeah, it was an ugly game for Vladar. And I said this on social media. I'll say it here. Full marks to him for turning it around and coming through big in the shootout. He was really good in the shootout. So good job by Vladar to shake off what was a very shaky game. But it doesn't change the fact that, especially for the first 60 minutes, it was a very shaky game. Look, he's done the thing that is so important for Philadelphia athletes to do. He made a really good first impression.
Yes.
So he's still kind of able to coast off that a little bit. Like, this is the kind of game where if Sam Ersson threw this game up, oh my God, it would be, torches and pitchforks, like literally marching to the Xfinity Mobile Arena, regardless of the fact they're not at home.
Kolosov jerseys. Maybe the most disliked guy on the team last year. Kolosov jerseys sales would be through the roof just in protest.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we would be right now.
But Vladar has earned some slack because he got off to the great start. You do worry a little bit, is this regression? Because, look, I'm optimistic about Vladar. I liked what I've seen aside from these last 2 games, especially this one. But it's important to note that it's not like his career numbers have been that great. Like, that could have just been a hot streak, and now he's coming back to earth. I hope it's not, but it could have been. I think with Vladar, we're still very much in the wait and see period.
Of course, yeah.
And maybe we got a little ahead of ourselves for thinking that, oh no, he's the guy, like fire Sam Ersson into the sun. Vladar's the dude. Maybe we shouldn't jump to that just yet. We should see how this plays out.
I hate seeing how things play out, Charlie. I like declarative statements. And it seemed like we got one early out of Vladar, but then these last two games have been less than ideal. Like that last one, all right. I even gave him like, yeah, what was he gonna have, a 939 all season? And listen, it's the Leafs.
It wasn't that
They
bad
can
of a
shoot
game.
the puck.
Yeah.
There's just some really good stuff in there. This one was a little bit more questionable. I say, like, if you look at each goal individually, it's like a couple he'd probably want back.
Yeah, I mean, first goal, I'm not going to give him any grief for that one. It's a bounce off the backboards. That either is really good luck or a team taking advantage of knowing their arena. Because I mean, we all remember the boards of the Joe Louis Arena, like how
Detroit was.
Yeah, that was just
trampoline.
that was something that the Red Wings took full advantage of because it was their arena. They knew it better than anybody else. So maybe that's the case at the Bell Center too, or it was just good luck for the Habs, bad luck for the Flyers. Second goal would have been a tough save, but he does get pulled completely out of position. Now, in fairness, so do the rest of the Flyers.
Yeah,
Demidov does a really good job of selling shot and then pulling together a great pass across the slot. But he does get totally pulled out of position and turns what would have been a difficult save into an impossible to make save because he has no chance once he gets pulled out of the crease. Third and fourth goals, though. Third goal, you got to steal that post, man. I mean, it's a real good play by Hudson to create the space, but you got to steal that post. And the fourth goal, look, Ivan Demidov might be a burgeoning superstar. Like, that just might be who he is, but that's still a clean look.
And it's the point in the game. Like, sometimes it's not about how many, it's about when. And it's like, yeah, you've looked shaky, man, but you come up with that save, this is a regulation win.
Right.
Because that just like, okay, he's got it, and we can get back to doing what we were doing. Instead, the entire game turns on his head. Now they're up 4-3, a game in which they were leading 3-0. Like, now everything's a little discombobulated, and maybe everybody was for a short period of time, and I credit them all for getting it together. But this was not Vladar's shining moment. He is able to pull it together, and hey, maybe he goes out next game, pitches shutout, and we forget all about these ones. But in terms of regression, like, when you're at 939, it's probably going to come down dramatically. And I'm hoping that's all that's happening. And then there will be a leveling off period where he's just fine. And hopefully we can get another hot streak. But now it's a competition, I'd say.
Yeah, he's down to 912. So still good.
Yeah,
still well
good.
Above league average, but it is coming down.
Yeah, I'll take 912. Like, how long were we just like 900? But once you said, like, we were talking about the team as a whole, or like a pregame or maybe off the air, like, man, we were just happy. That beginning of the season schedule was tough and they competed. And then all of a sudden we're like, they look kind of good. And as soon as we say that, two clunkers, and it's like, team's exactly what they were.
Yeah.
Because the expectations change that quick. And Vladar is probably dealing with a little of that from us as well. Because, listen, I'm not going to calm down. I got to be here. I want to have fun, damn it. And so I'm going to treat every game like it's an Eagles game, even though they play 82 of them. Soon to be 84. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey,
right.
Fewer preseason games. Fine by me.
Yeah, that is true. That will be nice. All right. We have a whole lot else to get to. We haven't even talked Zegras or Brink yet, who were phenomenal, especially in that first period. But I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And tonight was by no means an ordinary game in Montreal. But had you bet the Flyers, had you bet Philadelphia with Bet365, soon as they take that 3-goal lead, you would have been a winner. No need to sweat what was a roller coaster of emotions. You are automatically a winner at Bet365. If your team opens up a 3-goal lead, you get an instant payout on straight bets, and your parlays are marked as winners. So, hey, you can come back, play the other way, maybe go, I think this thing's going to overtime. You could play that. It doesn't matter. There's unlimited options at Bet365. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $300 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you're somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And now it's Elkins time, baby, because Flyers fans, you know who's dishing those championship-level car deals. It's not just number 46 with the awesome dishes. It is also Elkins Chevrolet, located on Route 73 South in Marlton, New Jersey. It's run by three brothers, Jason, Adam, and Josh, and these guys are in the store every single day, working to make sure they have a huge lineup of Chevys at the best prices and providing honking good service. No missed shots, no drama, just real brothers running a local business and backing every deal like it's the championship game. So if you're in the market for a new Chevy, make your next move to Elkins Chevrolet. Real brothers, real deals, and a whole lot of honking good service. Shop now at elkinchevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
All right, before we get back going, I believe we have over 400 viewers right now, and it's 77 likes. Let's get blast past 100. Let's get to 200. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Ladies and gentlemen, shootout win over those hated Montreal Canadiens. Those dirty fake French who have been doing nothing but talking about how they're just better than us. How they think they're just, oh man, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd rather have Lane Hudson and Ivan Demidov than any of the guys you've drafted. Well, you lost. You lost to us at home. How's that feel? Hit that like button if you hate the Habs as much as I do.
It is very funny how this Flyers Canadiens rivalry is entirely invented by Twitter. It is a rivalry between the fans of the Flyers on Twitter and the fans of the Canadiens on Twitter. It is nothing more than that. And it's become like a thing that we talk about because the people online are so into it.
I had a joke, but I'm going to let it go. Let's not get into that. All right. It is time for tonight's game changer, driven by Elkins Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. I want to talk a little about Nikita Grebenkin.
Okay.
Because he scores the game-tying goal, the very first of his career. And it was, I thought, 9:41 of ice time. At one point tonight, we're sitting there watching, and I'm like, has Hathaway replaced Grebenkin on that line? And it was one shift. I was like, well, maybe it's just like the two shifts, are overlapping or whatever. And then the next time it's just a full change and he's out there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it doesn't seem as if Tocchet has a ton of confidence in Grebby, but he did at least get him on the ice, back out there with Cates and TK for one shift in which he was able to get the goal that ties the game and force at least overtime. And yeah, they can't win without that goal. He scored it. I gotta give hats off to him for the I guess mental toughness to overcome whatever it is when you get demoted to the fourth line or benched. And we know he hasn't been getting a ton of ice time. He hasn't played in every game, but he found a way to make a difference tonight.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Grebenkin. Obviously, first NHL goal, huge moment for him. I'm sure. Apparently, he got the goalie mask tonight.
That's dope.
So that's cool. He seemed based on the pictures that the Flyers posted on social media, seemed like he was very, very happy. But yeah, it's been tough for Grebenkin to earn the trust of this coach. Really, that's what it boils down to, because we all see the upside. We see that he makes plays, that things happen when he's out there. But what we see this too, but maybe we brush it aside because, hey, we want to watch fun things. He does make some pretty glaring errors sometimes, and that's clearly what just is not allowed him to gain the faith of Rick Tocchet. Tocchet's doing, I don't think Tocchet dislikes the kid because he's doing a lot of one-on-one work with him. The coach is doing a lot of one-on-one work with him during days where he's like, it's in the lead up to him to get scratched. So I think they like the upside. It's just that he makes too many mistakes for Tocchet to feel comfortable throwing him out there for more than 9, 10, 11 minutes. But I love the fact that he got in a shift in the third period and then obviously makes an impact. I think the Flyers have something in this Grebenkin kid. I really do. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to be a very useful bottom six guy who brings some skill, brings some grit, some physicality to the table. I'd like to see more of him. I've been saying that for weeks, but in the end, he's only going to get more minutes until he finally convinces Rick Tocchet that he is trustworthy enough to deserve those minutes.
Now, I've been, you're not usually on in these post-game situations the entire show, so it doesn't always come up when we're talking. There was a time a couple of games ago, it felt like he was just like overcommitting on offense, and it's like those details we always talk about, like, okay, if you're F3, you're back. And I see two guys down low. Suddenly he's at the hash marks, and now plays going the other way, and it's a 3-on-2 for no other reason than like he just wasn't in the right place at the right time. Is it little stuff like that, do you think, that's holding him back from getting more ice? Or I know you don't know, but if you were to take a wild guess at Rick Tocchet's thought process here.
I think it's just all the details. Like there was that one play earlier in the season where he fails to get the puck out along the boards. It turns right into a goal. So it's all those little things. I think they just add up. And look, the hard truth is, and this is the way every NHL coach does it, when you're a rookie, you have a shorter leash. And he's a rookie. So like Travis Konechny can make a mistake and he's not necessarily going to get benched. Whereas if Grebenkin makes that same mistake, his minutes are going to get cut. That's just the reality of the situation. But I think it's less about like one specific thing and more about a bunch of little things that just has Tocchet believing he can't fully trust him. I hope that Grebenkin earns that trust because I really do think there's something there in this kid.
I really wanted to get Grebenkin talk in tonight, so I made him the game changer driven by Elkins Chevrolet. But it was very difficult for me not to make it Nick Deslauriers. I just wanted to make sure we give Nick Deslauriers his due.
I mean,
he is a heavyweight in this league, certainly. Arbor Jackeye has him by 3 inches and 25 pounds. I wouldn't say D'Lo took it to him.
He won the fight.
But he won that fight.
He won that fight.
Got the decision.
Yeah. And I think it's worth, like, look, I'm not.
That is a well-timed scrap.
I'm not the biggest fighting person, but this one I think did actually have an impact on the game. Number one, because that Bell Center crowd is nuts, and anything you can do to take them out of the game even for a little bit is good because they're crazy. I mean, we saw that the refs were calling penalties because it seemed like they were straight up intimidated by the crowd. And by winning that fight the way he did, by dropping the undroppable, the guy who that whole fan base absolutely loves in Jackeye, that shut them up for a good few minutes, and Flyers end up tying the game. Also, why does Jackeye take that fight? You're winning. It's a terrible time for him to fight.
That is a Carcillo sort of fight. Like, why did you? My question was why you. I'm glad because like these are two guys. Jesus, I see Deslauriers in the lineup. I see Jackeye on the other side. This is like half of why I'm watching. And like they go, but that is like the ultimate well-timed scrap.
Yeah.
Third period.
Yeah.
Things have just gone so far off the rails. How much can D'Lo do for his team in this situation? Yeah, I'm going to take on one of the toughest dudes in the league. And
basically drop it.
When he got that last shot in, you could hear a pin drop there in Montreal. It was, that was something. So I wanted to highlight him too in the game changer.
The crowd was clearly in shock that their heavyweight lost the fight. And it didn't take them out for the entire game, but a few minutes, it's all you need sometimes.
And that is tonight's game changer. All right, Chuck, we got to talk a little Trevor Zegras. He put on a show in that first period.
He sure did.
He put on an effing show. The behind the back pass, and you see he has the 5 shots, the 2 assists, both power play assists. The first one was the behind the back one, I believe. And that was just absolutely something. He came back later in the period, had that through the legs, that little through the legs dangle for the backhand chance. I know it's still early. I know he's got a long way to go before we're like, oh, yeah, he's a star, but so far it's hard not to say star with this kid.
I don't think you have to pause because we've seen him be a star. It's not like this is a guy who is coming out of nowhere and blowing up. This is a guy who his first 2 seasons in the league looked like he was destined to become this. Yeah. Then it just all goes to hell because the Anaheim Ducks just decide they hate him for some reason. Yeah. And now it's less that this is a surprise and more it's just to me that he's just getting his career back on track now that he's with an organization that doesn't irrationally dislike him.
How ridiculous was that shootout move? The way he starts as if he doesn't know that the camera's on him and he's just like messing like men's league in between like in between periods screwing around with the puck, and then suddenly he's coming in on goal, speeds up, puts on a stick handling clinic, and just Montembeault had no chance.
Yeah.
And you saw like his numbers are terrible to start the year, Montembeault's, but he stops Michkov, who was 2 for 2 and is like well over 50% for his career. Like, I know we've made a thing like, yeah, man, he's over 60% in his career in the shootout, but dear God, I've never seen anything like this. It's truly another world, especially after, the first 20 years of the shootout in which the Flyers won maybe 4. Like I was a little iffy going into this one because Dan Vladar was just shaky the whole time.
Yeah.
But when you see what Montreal's done in overtime and you see what the Flyers have done in the shootout, it's like, can we just survive the 5 minutes? And that's what Trevor Zegras makes you feel like. Put one on the board. Like, that's how I feel now. Like, they have to score 2.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It must be how, Capitals fans, Blues fans felt with TJ Oshie in his prime. One point I do want to make about Zegras, and this is, maybe this will, it probably won't, but maybe this will ease the concerns of some fans who are terrified that like Rick Tocchet is going to ruin Matvei Michkov. One of the big things I hear when the complaining about Michkov's ice time, it's that, Tocchet doesn't believe in skill. Tocchet, he loves the Christian Dvoraks and whatnot. Trevor Zegras is about as skill as it gets.
He's all skill.
He's all skill. Like, that is his game. He is a skill guy. That is what he does. He's been playing maybe with a little bit more of an edge of the season, but he's a skill guy. And he's making plays. He's doing things. And Tocchet is piling the minutes onto Trevor Zegras.
23 and a half
23 minutes. And yeah, 23 minutes and 24 seconds in this game. He's getting a ton of ice time. I don't think the lack of ice time for Michkov is because Tocchet doesn't appreciate skill. It's because Michkov isn't earning the minutes. And when Michkov starts playing well, I would expect him to get similar treatment as Zegras has been getting, because in Zegras, we're seeing that Tocchet isn't afraid to play the skill guys a ton.
Especially with Forster out, obviously the Forster Cates Brink line can't be together, so that forces everything to be changed. And like we always say, yes, we get crazy about the line combinations because you get to put the names together. It's like a video game, but they always get thrown in a blender at some point. But I thought there was really something with that Zegras Dvorak Tippett line tonight. I thought they had something going there. They were very dangerous, obviously, in the first period. They had a few chances to try to stem the tide, but just didn't finish them in the second. Tippett had a very rough game, especially on the power play. But overall, I thought that line was pretty effective.
Yeah, I mean, Tippett was infuriating in this game.
As he
had a ton of chances.
As is his wont.
That one play, I believe it was on the power play when Cates makes a great play in the corner, gets him the puck, and Tippett just whiffs on it. That was one of those where you're like, all right, I count myself, relatively speaking, a Tippett defender. That was one where it's like, all right, all you haters, you have a point on that.
Well, it's little things like that, because I said last game, like, someone was like, "Yeah, what did we miss our chance?" It was a super chat, I think. Like, did we miss our chance to trade Tippett while he was hot?
Everybody knows this about Tippett.
Like, yeah, this is my thing. Was I was saying this to Steve. I wish sports betting was legal when Wayne Simmons was in his prime, because I had his pattern down 7 games. He would go 7 games without a goal, and then for the next 5 or 6, he'd be, oh my God, he's the second best power play scorer in the world behind Alex Ovechkin. Like, that was just the thing. Now, the difference being Simmons brought you a lot other stuff.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But this is what goal scorers are. As long as Tippett in his hot streaks is dominant the way he was to start this season, you deal with the cold streaks, and someone else has to score in those 7 games. And then he comes back and hopefully gets hot again. He's bought himself some time with me. But a game like tonight, I'm like, dog, you're a goal scorer. You're in goal scoring position. You have to finish.
Yeah, this was it was a frustrating Owen Tippett game. Like, I thought Dvorak was good. Would I rather him not be getting 24 minutes? Yeah, probably.
Nice.
But I thought he was good. He was good in this game, and obviously he was against his former team, so he's got a little bit of an added incentive to really go for it in this one. And Zegras was obviously fantastic. That line maybe scores 5 goals if Tippett is playing like the Tippett from 2 weeks ago.
It's true. All right, we got to talk Mish. I want to talk about this power play that's suddenly kind of good, but we have to take another break. What a time if you don't have Xfinity. That's all I'm going to say about that, but we know Xfinity is the ultimate sports destination. So if you call yourself a sports fan, a hockey fan, a football fan, you got to have Xfinity now more than ever, because it's that ultimate sports destination. And the way you watch, it's simply next level. The enhanced 4K picture and sound is the perfect fan flex. It's so clear, feels like you're in the arena, and you can get up to 4 games going at once with the multi-view. Yeah, we had some basketball tonight. We had some hockey tonight. Easily get both going at the same time with Xfinity. And on top of that, you get real-time stats and notifications live on your TV so you can keep up on all your parlays and fantasy teams. Next game day, make sure you're a big fan, not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. And since we're here, I have to tell you about our friends at Bucci Jewelers, because we all know the feeling. You walk into a jewelry store, you're trying to pick out something for your partner, and suddenly you're in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these diamonds? Am I even going to get what she likes? Color, cut? I don't know what any of this means. It is stressful. And that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. These guys make the whole process seamless. From the minute you walk in, they treat you like family. They actually listen. They help you figure out what your partner will love, and then their team designs something completely custom right there in-house. There's no pressure. There's no pushy sales vibe. Just good people who love what they do. And the end result, it's something you'll be proud to give and they'll never forget. 30-plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year. Over 1,000 five-star reviews speak for themselves. Check them out at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you. All right. Matvei Michkov. I didn't, bet him because I thought it would be unlucky, because I do somewhat believe in jinxes. I don't have as much fear jinxing them when you're here as opposed to Stephen Kelly, because you won't blame me if I say overtime. But I also wrote the headline tonight: Flyers blow 3-goal lead, and Grebenkin scored immediately.
Reverse jinx, right?
Reverse jinx,
obviously.
But Matvei Michkov, 15:28 time on ice. He did get a shift in overtime at the end there. Doesn't score in the shootout. 3 shots on goal. It's such a different look if either of those great backdoor passes he sent get finished. One to Coots, one to Dvorak. Coots whiffs, and Montembeault got over to stop Dvorak.
Yeah, and there have been times over this recent run where you were like, Michkov looks snake bitten. I guess maybe now he's passed on that snake bittenness to the guys he passes the puck to as well. Because, he could have easily had 2 assists in this game off of gorgeous feeds. I mean, Dvorak couldn't believe that Montembeault got over in time. It's in the middle of the play, and Dvorak is looking skyward. Usually they wait until after the whistle. He couldn't even help himself. He's just like, you got to be kidding me.
It was like, the puck may have still been live. He could have easily dropped the rebound, and Dvorak would have never known.
Yeah, right.
Because he's looking up. I'm sitting there, we're talking, Charlie, and it's like, can you claim to get goal lead when you score 3 first period
when you
goals?
take 42 shots, maybe.
And perhaps that would have been the case if Grebenkin doesn't come through, but it just feels like, I said this pregame, Michkov needs one game where he looks like himself, and then we'll be off to the races. We've seen this before earlier in the season, like he's getting there. Tonight felt like, okay, he's creating some scoring chances. He also wasn't perfect. But if he has 2 assists tonight, it's okay, Michkov's back.
Yeah.
Doesn't get them, but maybe there's something here.
One thing I thought was really promising. It happened in the 3rd period, not a play that, was a highlight reel play, but I think it was like 6 minutes left in the 3rd period. Michkov takes the puck in the defensive zone and flies up ice and creates an entry on his own. He had real burst. He looked like he was playing with pace. And that's where you're getting some hope. Like, maybe he's getting the conditioning thing down, and maybe he's not fast. But at most of last year, I would say he looked quick. Yeah, sometimes it would be, especially at the end of shifts, on breakaways and whatnot, he would look a little slow. But he definitely looked quicker last year than he's looked so far this year. And on that play, I saw some of that, 2024, 2025 quickness. That was intriguing to me. It tells me maybe he's starting to feel it again. He's starting to have that jump back in his legs. And I think that will go a long way, especially not necessarily towards helping him to get more assists, because that's mostly just creativity and then the guys he's passing to have to finish. But in terms of goal scoring, if he has just that quarter step extra quickness, that's going to help him a lot in terms of actually putting the puck in the net, winning races to loose pucks, being able to attack off the rush, being able to get those breakaway opportunities because he's able to ward off the guys behind him because he's just a little bit quicker. That was really good to see. I like that, and I'm hoping that maybe that's showing that he's turning the corner a bit in terms of conditioning, playing himself back into ideal shape, and I think if he does that, the goals are going to come.
Now, the Michkov thing is going to lead me into a Bobby Brink conversation as well. Mish plays 15-28. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the first period, only ends up playing 15-25. They did kill 4 penalties.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Maybe that takes away from some of these wingers who aren't on the PK.
Yeah, but Zegras doesn't kill penalties either. He got 23 minutes.
Zegras played, like almost 24 minutes. Yeah. The Mish thing, we've kind of been able to explain, like, oh, all right, like he's not in the best shape. He's made some mistakes, hasn't really looked like himself. Bobby Brink, 2 goals in the first period, and only plays 15 minutes tonight. I guess he's on the line with Michkov, but I don't know, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, it just seems like that Couturier line was used as functionally the third line at even strength in this game. And I guess I understand it to a degree in that, like, the Dvorak line, Zegras is going.
Yeah.
So feed him minutes. But, and Noah Cates, another strong game. So I get the idea of like, well, I want to lean on Noah because he's rolling. But yeah, I feel like Brink, definitely. Michkov, ideally. I'd like to see him earn the minutes more, but ideally I'd like to see him getting more than 15. And Brink, 2 goals. Yeah, I'd like to see him closer to like 17, 18. I hate talking about time on ice.
I know.
I really do.
It's just one of these things when I see a guy like, okay, Zegras is going, right? So we're going to load the ice time up on him. And Tocchet's been good with Zegras in terms of getting him on the ice, especially when he starts off the way he did tonight. I mean, why wouldn't you play him as much as you possibly could? But I then see Bobby Brink, a couple of goals. Now, yes, other guys had to make plays to set up the game. It's not like he went end to end and scored, but like he made a bunch of plays tonight that also didn't result in goals. I just would have liked to see him play a little bit more, but it's just a continuation of the season Bobby Brink has had, where he is kind of declaring, yeah, I'm not going to be the odd man out. 3 straight games without a point, and then tonight a couple of goals in that 3-goal first period. I know we might talk about York Caufield later because I want to continue to annoy you because you're in studio. But like when we look back at that draft, we were told, yeah, we might have got, and listen, Bobby Brink is not Cole Caufield, at least not yet.
No.
Cole Caufield leads the league in scoring, but it does seem like maybe less of a stretch. Like, okay, we got a top 4 defenseman and a guy who can score a bunch. Like, I'm just happy that Bobby Brink is getting to this point because the skill was so apparent right away. Like, when he stepped on the ice out of college, it was like, this guy can play. And then it took a little while. He had to go to the AHL. He's putting up points, but we don't know about the shape he's in. We don't know how healthy he is. He has turned into a complete player.
Yeah, and I mean, props to him. I've mentioned it many times so far this season. It's obvious that the skating has gotten better. It's obvious that as he's built up more lower body and core strength, that the quickness is much improved, that he's got bursts that he didn't have in college, didn't have in the USHL. Going back to the Caufield stuff, like, my issue with it, and I have a big issue with the obsession with Cole Caufield. I love Cole Caufield. I mean, I would have taken Cole Caufield in that spot. But I'm okay. Like, I'm okay with complaining about a draft.
Yeah.
If the guy that the team took isn't good. Because, like, it's the same issue I had for years when people would be like, oh, they should have taken David Pastrnak instead of Travis Sanheim. It's like, well, yeah, Pastrnak would have been the best pick. But Travis Sanheim is still a good pick. And really all you can ask for from a front office on draft day is to make the good picks. Don't screw up. And in taking Cam York and getting Bobby Brink as well, they didn't screw up.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to complain about like German Rubtsov or Nolan Patrick, I get that because those guys ended up being straight up bust. Cam York got 25-47 in this game in terms of ice time, had a goal and had a goal and an assist. He's a clear-cut above average top 4 defenseman, and Bobby Brink is a clear-cut above average top 9 forward. That's a good draft. That is, objectively speaking, a really good draft. It's a good haul. Would it have been better if it was Caufield? Maybe, especially if Caufield continues to be on a 60-goal pace like he is. But I don't support the consternation, the hand-wringing when the guys you got are clearly good.
Yeah, I know. It will always be a thing, at least a little bit. It's hard on a night when you see both guys not to think about it, but it doesn't feel like you said. It's not German Rubtsov, who's
the germ.
I don't even know if he's playing in the K at this point.
I'm
like
a third liner in the KHL.
It's not that, at least, and not screwing up is probably you want the diamonds, but as long as you can get something, it's not the end of the world.
These guys are more than something. Yeah. They're good players.
Yes. All right. I want to talk about the power play on the other side, but first we got to take our final break. Everybody's got their favorite hard tea, but have you ever turned around the can to just read what's inside? Your choice. Well, usually you can't because they don't tell you. And while they hide what's inside, Crooked Tea brags about what they've got because Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar. There's no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So next time you're at the store, flip the can. If you can't find the ingredients, just put it back on the shelf and grab yourself a Crooked Tea, zero sugar, real tea, and fully transparent. You know Philly recognizes real, so why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better? Strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find a store near you. And now it's time to tell you about Monarch Money. If you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, you know I might not be the most responsible with my money, or at least I wasn't before I found Monarch. And now I am figuring it out because Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've ever put off organizing your finances, Monarch's for you because they do the heavy lifting. They link all your accounts in minutes, and you get clear data visuals, smart categorization of your spending, and real control over your money. If you're not on top of your money, you could be missing chances to save more, invest smarter, or hit your financial goals. And Monarch helps you stay informed so nothing slips through the cracks. That's why Monarch is one of the top apps for it's number one amongst budgeting apps in the App Store. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY. We came close tonight, Charlie. We came close to our very first 3 power play goal game since March 1st of 2020. They even had a chance with 7.2 seconds left.
That would have been a hell of a way to get it.
2 power play goals in the first period. They have 6 opportunities throughout the game. They only get the 2, but I'll take 2 for 6 from this team any day. It seems, at least for now, that they have not a great power play, not a power play that you don't want to go shorthanded against them. It's scary. But it's not going to actively lose them games, at least to this point, the way it may have over the last few years.
Yeah, I obviously liked what I saw in the first period from the power play. They score on the 2-man advantage, and they get another one. Like, how many times have we seen the Flyers score consecutive power play goals? You never see it. Yeah, they might get it at 5-on-3, but they're certainly not taking advantage of the next one.
Yeah,
both?
Never.
Like, I can't remember the last time they did something like that. There was one play on the initial power play that I really liked and I want to highlight because I think, maybe we haven't talked enough about how useful Noah Cates has been on the power play. He's scoring some points in the power play, but the play that he made, not on the goal, because he gets a primary assist on the I believe was it the first or the second Brink goal?
The second Brink goal was the power play goal.
Yeah, so he gets a primary assist because
he goes to the net.
The Zegras pass is like a pass shot. Cates puts it in the goalie's pads, and then Brink buries the rebound. But the play I want to highlight was Flyers have the initial power play, and we're watching on the couch here at the studio, and the puck is going around the boards, and it looks for certain that the Montreal player is going to collect the puck and clear it down the ice, and that's going to be another 20 seconds burned. Noah Cates gets to that guy, ties him up, and then allows for his teammates to come in and take the puck. What happens immediately after? Montreal takes a second penalty. And that's the kind of little things play that Noah Cates has brought to the power play, and it's the kind of little things play, just keeping pucks alive, doing hard work, that this power play was not doing for years. Now, look, I am 100% of the belief that the Flyers were not managed well on the power play for a long time. Rocky Thompson did a bad job tactically on the power play for years, but the guys on the ice also deserve a lot of the blame for it being so bad for so long. And we're seeing in Noah Cates this year, him just doing those little things, the types of things that Sean Couturier used to do when he was peak Sean Couturier on that top unit with Giroux and Simmons and Ghost, where he would win the battles. He would keep pucks alive. If a puck was in the middle of the slot and it was loose, he'd be the guy, he'd poke it to somebody, poke it to Giroux. They weren't doing enough of that for years. And I love what I've seen from Cates and his ability to just keep the play in the offensive zone. This time he gets rewarded by drawing another penalty, but they've scored goals on the power play this year because Cates has kept plays alive. I've been really impressed by what I've seen and what Cates has been able to bring to that power play. And I wasn't sure if he was a power play guy. Now I want him on the power play.
When you see him out there, you're like, really? This is what we're doing on the power play? But the power play he has been on
the better
all
power
year
play unit.
is the considerably better power play. I even looked to the end of overtime when they get that shot with 7 seconds left. Now, TK's shot gets blocked. Suzuki gets out there. There was only 7 seconds. The work Cates did to make that all possible, because they did not win the draw.
Yeah.
And he gets down there and gets it loose and goes around the net. I'm like, what, are they going to run out of time? And there was still plenty of time. And he gets that puck over to TK and like had a chance.
Yeah.
Had a chance.
Absolutely.
I was shocked that they even after the draw, like kind of goes into the corner. It's like, all right, so such is life. Shootout. And then it comes out and nothing but high marks for Noah Cates, who, listen, he's one of these guys I am so happy for, because he could easily just be a fourth liner.
Yeah.
He's missing games at the beginning of last season for Jet Luchenko. And now he's one of their most effective players. Like, I want him on the ice in basically every situation, which I can't believe I'm saying. Yeah. I'd like guys better than him, but right now with this team, there aren't many.
Yeah, I've been, and I've always liked Cates' game. Yeah. This year I am loving Noah Cates' game, to the point where I'm starting to wonder if he might be a 2C. Like he's making me reassess, because my thought process with Noah Cates for years was, not for years, but basically all of last year was great third line center. If he's your third line center, you're a cup contender, because just because, like, I could easily see him on Florida. I could easily see him as a third line center on Colorado. I mean, like, that's his role. What I've seen from him this year, I'm like, maybe he could be a 2C on a contender. Maybe he is that good.
There's no reason to think he's not at this point in time. Like, right at this moment, like, why would anyone argue such a thing? All right, it is time for Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game. Charlie, the floor is yours. Who is tonight's third star?
Tonight's third star, I'm going to give it to Nikita Grebenkin for the game-tying clutch goal, first NHL goal of his career. Didn't get a lot of minutes, but made the most of the minutes he got. And look, the first goal you score in the NHL, always an exciting moment.
So cool.
But this was a really big moment. This is a game that it would have been a devastating loss if the Flyers, at the very least, didn't take it to overtime, given the fact that they did so many good things with the puck in the offensive zone, finally getting shots on goal. Grebenkin made sure that it wasn't all for nothing. He comes up with a big goal, good shot. Nikita Grebenkin, third star of the game.
Who is tonight's second star?
Second star, look, it's one of two guys. I'm going with Bobby Brink as second star. He gets 2 goals. Maybe part of that was because he didn't get as many minutes to show how good he was as the guy I'm going to put as first star of the game. But Brink did only get 15 minutes, scores the 2 goals, but I just didn't think he was quite as consistently impactful in this game as the guy who I'm giving first star to. But Bobby Brink, fantastic game, easy second star choice.
And I'll just take over here, Charlie. Tonight's first star, Nick Delorier.
Oh, no.
4-1-0 with D'Lo in the lineup. That's where you were going, right? First star?
No, it was Trevor Zegras. He was incredible in this game.
Charlie,
He
come
was
on.
making plays. He was everywhere. Obviously, Taka piles the minutes onto him, and he handled it well. And he scores functionally the game-winning goal in the shootout. Zegras was fantastic. He's like, aside from the fact that he's not playing center, he has been the best case scenario. Like, coming out of that trade, you're like, yeah, it's a high upside play. You know, they didn't give up much. It's a no-brainer trade. But we didn't know what we were going to get out of Trevor Zegras. We didn't know if he was just going to be a decent enough, you know, finesse forward who is basically just like a little bit better than what Morgan Frost was. Instead, he looks like a bona fide NHL star. And it's been extremely fun to watch.
Before we get to the super chats, Charlie, can we just real quick? So he has 15 points in his first 13 games with the Flyers. Does Trevor Zegras? Did you notice that graphic that they put up during the game? First 13 games with the Flyers.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's a bunch of great names who all are tied with 15 points in those 13 games, and then Peter Forsberg at 28.
28.
Now, like. And JJ even pointed it out that first year out of the lockout, like the offensive numbers were just stupid.
They were calling penalties on every play because they were trying to get everybody to recalibrate to the fact that like you can't hook and hold on every play anymore.
Hope checks were basically illegal.
Yeah,
Like, it was even different than now, like in terms of the game's different, but that was insane. But 28, but Zegras, best case scenario. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
I am elated that Trevor Zegras is a Philadelphia Flyer. And with that, we go to super chats. All right, 203 likes. Well done. Let's see if we can get to like 250 before super chats are over.
Yeah.
All right, from
Hit the
Borfus.
like button.
Great to hear from Borfus.
Borfus.
They don't ask how, they ask how many. Listen, I know I would like some regulation wins in there. I would like to not blow 3-goal leads, but in terms of content for the show and entertainment value, couldn't be happier. After I complained about the weekend, I can't complain about tonight's game a little bit.
This was a great hockey game purely from an entertainment value standpoint. Wasn't the cleanest hockey game, certainly wasn't the best officiated hockey game, but pure entertainment value. Like, the Flyers have justifiably taken grief so far this season for being a boring team. They did not play like a boring team tonight.
And they didn't again, like the highest flying team in the league. Lead the East in goals per game, shooting percentage through the roof, and they found a way. That's pretty good for a team like couldn't get 20 shots the other night.
Yeah, right.
All right, from Will Wadsworth. Once it went to OT, I thought of you guys. Now I get to delay you going home just a bit more. Zegras is him, and Bobby wants his money. That is Zegras, we just said, but both the guys. I mean, second and first star of the game. It's really, really hard to find holes in their starts to the season. And even Kate's, like, these guys have started as well as we could have possibly asked for.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, look, having to pay guys like Brink and Zegras, it's a good problem.
It is. It's absolutely, like, those are the guys you want to pay. Yeah. Oh, man, we tested you. And you passed. You did better than pass. You got an A.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing, at least so far. All right, DA power play, man. We won. Why you have to be mad? A wise man once
breaking
said.
out the Briz quote.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Briz.
Okay.
I heard Briz's name actually come up on it's a new podcast with Marek and Bruce Boudreau. And they had Chris Pronger on, and he mentioned, you have a goalie duo. They were talking about the Ducks, as good as Jiggy and Briz were. Like, how couldn't we win? It's like, man, that a few years later.
Oh, Briz.
Yeah. All right. Next one from R. Park. Andre plays, Flyers win.
That's the reason.
I did want to. I meant to check this.
Delorier and Andre.
I looked up Delorier. He's 4-1-0, and the Flyers are in. I'm trying to bring up the game logs here for Emil Andre. Flyers are 3-0.
Yeah, because it was
3-0.
the home opener against Florida, and then what was it? The Thursday game, whoever they played Thursday, right?
Yeah, I think I'm willing to make this trade. Not like a hockey trade. I'm willing to make this concession in the lineup. If we can get Andre in regularly, I'm so cool with Delorier playing.
Ooh, that is interesting.
And honestly, if the fourth line, like my options now that Grebenkin might be up in the lineup or he's going to be up and down third or fourth line, like I don't see a need for Abels and Gaucher to both be in the lineup. That seems a little redundant. Why not just have the guy who's going to go fight Arbor Jackeye because he's a badass? Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, The only thing is I worry that's, especially after Forster comes back, that means that we get less of Grebenkin, and I want to see Grebenkin.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, if there are worse things than to have a 12th forward who's playing 5-6 minutes a game, and then sometimes has entertaining fights like the one tonight.
And meaningful scraps. All right. Do we need to go to overtime, or are we still waiting on that? Not quite yet. All right. From WTBA, seems unfair to get partial power play at the end of OT or regulation. Lessens risk of taking a penalty late. Should have to stop the whole thing like an untimed down.
It's a fair point.
I believe this about power plays at the end of the period because the Flyers have never converted on the clean sheet of ice. I think it should be like the like penalty time in soccer,
right.
where it's just like period keeps going, and if we have to, we'll take it off the beginning of the next one. Like, yeah, next period's going to start with 19:20 on the clock because there's 40 seconds of overrun. I'd be fine with that.
I mean,
the OT thing is
it
interesting.
Certainly would be fair. It would be the fairer way to do it. The NHL just doesn't want to extend games. I mean, I would love it if they just did continuous overtime and killed the shootout. I know you like the shootout, but they'll never do it because the NHL and the NHLPA are like, hey man, this is a tiring sport.
I also think, like someone would die. We don't need that. Just end the game with a shootout. Now that we're good at them, it's great. All right, and now we're going to overtime. Head to allphly.com to keep watching. All right. From W. Boro Goal, Cates is who I'm watching this season. Dude is always forechecking hard and usually comes up with the puck. Seems like he's taking that next step. I'm telling you, man, the Wineka brothers, they forecheck like gophers. Love Mystery last year, even though we decided it's not actually a good movie.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was.
I enjoyed those movie watching shows we did.
You absolutely need guys like Cates, and he's now. Like, I hope he can be that. He is. Like, what his ultimate role is, I don't know. But right now, he's looking like a very, very useful middle six center. And he was fourth line left wing last
not
like,
nine
not
points,
not that long ago.
9 points in 13 games this year. Maybe he is taking the leap into 50+ point levels.
If that's the case, that is one hell of a value pick there. What was he? Fifth round. All right. From Obi-Wan, what a roller coaster of emotions. It's not great for my health, but it is a whole lot of fun to watch this team not just kind of trudge through 60 minutes and get as many shots blocked as they get to the net. That is a good time. All right, Dylan Forster. Shout out Grebby, forecheck, backcheck, paycheck. I think his upside gets unlocked with better line mates, not the Laurier and Hathaway. Same with Abels. It's kind of just right now with Forster out, it is a good opportunity for him, like we said in pregame, but we are getting to a point of we have so many wings. Like, yeah, I want him up with better line mates, but unless he plays center, I don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, with Forster out, obviously he's getting a look, but I'd like to see him getting some more minutes in that look. That would be nice.
In this opportunity, while Forster is out, let's see if he's a top 9 forward.
Yeah.
If he's just a really good fourth liner, there are worse things. But like, I would like to find out. All right. What if he's your next Cates? Who's to say? All right. Last one here from R Park. Can we get the D-Lo elbow room dance?
So for the people who aren't chronically online, when they were down in Fort Lauderdale, I don't know how this video even came about. Like, does elbow room just film like have like a camera going at all times?
They may, because I feel like I hear about that place more than any other bar in the league.
So Elbow Room is a bar in Fort Lauderdale right on the beach. I guess Nick Deluray was having a real good night before the season opener, and they got a video of him dancing. It was very funny.
All right, and with that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the YouTube page. We have cleared, I think we're at like 52,000 now, on our way to 100. Help us get there. Click the follow button and maybe hit the like button too. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. with our regular non-game day show. Kelly Hinkle will be with us. We'll have the whole gang together after this fun Flyers win. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thank you so much to Brenna for producing. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.